Hey guys, what's up? It's Will back here once again for another fight card prediction. We're going to be breaking down the TUF 24 finale, the Tournament of Champions from this previous season, which has been a great season with the flyweights in there. Just I want to put this a warning out there. I will be breaking down the Demetrious Johnson fight against his opponent who won the show. Unfortunately, I knew who won the show a long time ago. If you don't know who won the show, just try and skip that fight with Demetrious Johnson. Don't look in Wikipedia because the winner of the show is already put into that slot in the card there, so don't look at that. I will be breaking it down, so that's a warning. So no shit from anybody down here for saying, oh, you shouldn't do this, I haven't watched it. I'm getting it out. I always get them out on a Monday, so I'm going to try and get them out here. So no shit if you don't know or you didn't want to know the fights there, who won the show. So also, if you want to play me in DraftKings, I love playing DraftKings. If you want a one-on-one game, come and find me on the DraftKings. I'm at Bilber85. I love playing on there, so let's play a head-to-head. As always, you can follow all the guys down below me there. You can all go and look there. Please support those guys. MMA Betting Sharks on Facebook. A really good load of guys talking about fights on there. And you can always come and follow me on Twitter at Will Martin MMA. Overall, I quite like this card. There's a lot of kind of 50-50 fights I'm not really sure on. I'm coming off a pretty bad prediction video for UFC Melbourne where a lot of underdogs won it. As the week kind of went on, I kind of started to favour some of the ones like Tyson Pedro was one that I put in my DraftKings team, actually won me quite a bit of money. But a struggling one there. But I did go 3-3 in my bets for a plus night of bets, so I made some money on that, about $120. So not too bad. Getting on to this one, we're going to get straight into it. Starting off in the flyweight division, a fight I'm really looking forward to seeing, a fighter I'm looking forward to seeing. Brandon Moreno against Ryan Benoit. Brandon Moreno, what can we say about this guy? I mean, he came in very short notice against Lewis Smolka, one of the hottest guys in the flyweight division, and came in there and he put Smolka, he made Smolka tap out in the first round. He put in a wicked guillotine choke, and just really, as soon as he had it locked in it and he adjusted his hands a little bit, it was night, and that's impressive in something against Lewis Smolka, because Smolka is one of the best guys in that division, I've no doubt about it. I think he's just outside that core talent of top 5 flyweights in my opinion. But Moreno would come in there short notice, coming off the show where he lost to Alexandre Pantoja, and getting that big statement win like that sets you up for a really nice introduction into the UFC. And he's got a favourable matchup here against Ryan Benoit, who's coming off a win over Freddie Serrano back at UFC 201, and a pretty weird matchup in all honesty. It was a little bit back and forward. Serrano was throwing funny shit, and Benoit just did enough really to win that via split decision. I thought that Moreno coming into the UFC would be a little bit against it straight away, but he showed that he's got some legit skills there, and he has some submissions. He's got a really tight grip. We've seen that in the show. He exchanged with Pantoja on the feet a little bit and put a beating on Pantoja. Once it went to the ground, he was really outgunned down there, but he has some skills. I watched some of his fights before the UFC. The kid has got some talent down there. I think if he can find a way to really get that fight to the ground, he wins this one. So I'm going to go Brandon Moreno via submission in I'm going to go early round number 3. Lightweight division, Dong Hyun Kim against Brendan O'Reilly. Pretty low level this for a lightweight fight. O'Reilly, I don't think is UFC caliber. Dong Hyun Kim has had a kind of... It's nice to see that the UFC actually gave him another shot after that war with Marco Polo Reyes back in June. And he lost before that to Dominic Steele with that KO slam. Brendan O'Reilly lost last time out to Alan Jouban. I think that just Dong Hyun Kim is a better fighter. I just don't think Brendan O'Reilly is a UFC caliber fighter. I think he never really was, in all honesty. His only win is over Vic Grujic. Tough guy, can take some shots. Do I think that Kim can stop him? I think he can, but I think this is going to be a kind of 3-round fight where he's just going to put his dominance on Brendan O'Reilly, and I think that he's just going to win a fairly unanimous 30-27, if not a finish in there. I like him in this one, so I'm going to go the Maestro, Dong Hyun Kim via decision. Middleweight division, Elvis Mutapcic against Anthony Smith. Been going a little bit back and forward in this one myself, I must admit, because I don't think Mutapcic, to in all fairness, he's a really tough fighter. kind of plods forward, throws some big shots, tries to put you against the cage, and just work. He's a pretty sizable guy in that middleweight division, coming down from 205. But he is against a guy who's probably bigger than him here, and Anthony Smith. I don't really rate Anthony Smith too much. I think I maybe picked him to win. No, in fact I didn't. I picked Cesar Ferreira to beat him last time out. I don't really particularly rate Anthony Smith too highly, in all honesty. I think his win over Leonardo Leleco was pretty low level. I think once he hits a certain part of the fight, he gasses really badly. But he has got a nice length to him. If he uses that and keep his opponents on the outside, he can cause damage out there. But there is definite holes you can get him there. If you can get him against the cage, you can take him down and you can beat on him from the top, from on top. And I expect Elvis Mutapcic to use that game plan. But I think Anthony Smith, he comes out really quick, and I think he will win the first round. That's it. It's going to win these fights where it's all depending on who wins the second round, because I see if it goes to a third, I see Elvis winning. So it's all about the second round, in my opinion. I'm going to go Anthony Smith via a very close split decision. I can see this going either way, but my pick is going to be Anthony Smith, but it will be close. Middleweight division, staying in there with Josh Stansbury against Devin Clark. I was pretty high in Devin Clark when he came into the UFC and lost to Alex Nicholson. Was controlling that fight for the most part until he got caught with a big shot, which Nicholson can do. He throws a lot of spin and shit, and throws with a lot of power and a lot of intent to hurt your opponent. And he just got caught. He was winning 4 minutes of that round and then got caught out. But a loss in his UFC debut. Now we're coming in here against Josh Stansbury, who was on the TUF show a couple of years back. Another one of these fights on 50-50 one. It's one of these, it's hard to really pick a winner. You look into watching their fights and there's not much between them. It's just about who can adjust better, whose nerves will settle a little bit easier. And I was going to go with Josh Stansbury, but I watched a couple of Devin Clark fights before, and I think he can find the chin of Josh Stansbury. If he can keep that level-headed fight IQ that he showed in the first few minutes against Josh Nicholson, and just keep it going over the first 5 to 10 minutes of the fight, I think he wins the fight fairly convincingly. But Josh Stansbury is a big guy. He's got the reach advantage in this one here. I think if Devin Clark wanted to use his wrestling, I think Stansbury is definitely open to getting taken down a little bit, and Devin Clark can kind of ride on from the top position and possibly get them out to a finish. I'm going to pick Devin Clark. I'm going to go via decision. Not one of my confident picks in this cards whatsoever, but I'm going to pick him in this one. Devin Clark via decision. Strawweight division, we have Kaillin Curran against Jamie Moyle. Another kind of low-level fight here in the UFC strawweight division. But I am going to pick Kaillin Curran. I think she has faced the better opposition. I think she is the better striker. I think that Moyle, her output is very, very good. But she doesn't really have much power. She doesn't really have... her accuracy isn't really great, in all honesty. I think that Curran can really kind of beat her up from the outside. And I think that Moyle will probably look for takedowns here. We've seen that in the Felice Herrig fight, that if you get Kaillin Curran to the ground, you can win this fight. We've seen that in the Alex Chambers fight, where she was winning that fight convincingly and stupidly went to the ground with Alex Chambers, initiated the kind of ground battle down there and got submitted in a fight she was clearly winning. I think that if she keeps it standing, I think this will be a fight that kind of is kept standing. Try and initiate the clinch a little bit, where she can, I think she's a longer fighter, she can work from there and really put a beating on Moyle, who is the smaller fighter in this one here. Just a few years ago I was a fan of Jamie Moyle, and in fact I thought she was going to come through and be a fighter, but I think she's kind of peaked off a little bit. I think this is a fight for Kaillin Curran to win. As I say, she's faced the better opposition, Felice Herrig, Paige Van Zandt, and so on. I'm going to go Kaillin Curran, 30-27 victory here for her. Bantamweight division, Rob Font against Matt Schnell. Now Matt Schnell's coming in here very short notice after Alejandro Perez pulled out. I mean, I don't know what it is with Rob Font fights. Fighters just pull out. Ian Entwistle in Manchester pulled out the day before the fight on the weigh-ins, which was tough, man. Rob Font's a cool dude. Got to meet him and share a few words with him. Really nice guy. I think he's got a very tough fight here, Matt Schnell. Matt Schnell is I think he was the Legacy... he was like the interim champion in Legacy, and came into the TUF show, the show that's been on this this season and gave a good account of himself, losing to Tim Elliott there, where Tim Elliott's just a wild man and comes in and he caught him with a really nice submission after probably giving him the worst nut kick I've ever seen in my life. Watched that in Belfast last week with probably a few hundred other people, and we've seen that, and it was just it was quite gnarly to watch, to say the least. But I think he could give Rob Font problems here. Font's coming off that loss to John Lineker, going down to Brazil. We've all seen what John Lineker is doing. He's beaten really top quality guys. I mean, he followed up with John Dodson, Michael McDonald as well. So he's got TJ Dillashaw next, which I don't like that matchup for him, but still. Rob Font, in the meantime, in between fights, has been working a lot in his jiu-jitsu. He's been entering a lot of tournaments. He's been winning some tournaments. So this is where I see Rob Font wanting to take this, try and use that striking, pitter patter striking, use the inside leg kicks, which I think is open to him here. Schnell can be hit with those inside leg kicks and the outside leg kicks, in all honesty, as well. And try and get this fight to the ground, because I think he does have a clear advantage down there. And we've seen that Schnell can be put to sleep. I'm a fan of Matt Schnell, I must admit. But I would like to see him at flyweight in his next fight here. He's coming in here. But Rob Font for me. I'm going to pick submission. End of round number 2 for Rob Font. Featherweight division, we have Gray Maynard against Ryan Hall. Now this is, I think, is a good fight for Gray Maynard. We all know that this guy's chin is completely gone. He registered his first win in over 4 years against Fernando Bruno back in the summer there. But this is the fight where I think he has a legitimate chance of winning. And I never thought I would say that after his previous 4 or 5 fights, because his chin is completely gone. It doesn't take much to hit this guy. But Ryan Hall is not known for his striking whatsoever. He's a jiu-jitsu guy first, take you to the ground and look to working you, because he really has got an elite ground game if he gets you down there. But Gray Maynard, coming off that winner for Fernando Bruno, took some licks. And looked kind of wobbly, but came through with his grappling once Bruno started to fade away in that one there. And got the victory there. It was nice to see. Thought he should have probably walked away, but when can you ever tell a fighter to walk away from the sport that he's loved for a long time? Ryan Hall won the Ultimate Fighter with Ultimate Fighter show there. Looked decent all the way. Kind of through it. In fact, he lost to Saul Rogers, and then he got the opportunity to come back in. He was actually training at SBG against Artem Lobov, who also got a chance to come back in that show, and just kind of used his ground game. I didn't think Artem Lobov could really stick around in there with Ryan Hall, and he did, so fair play to him. But this is a winnable fight. People are writing off Gray Maynard far too easily, and I've seen a few people pick him. I won't be betting him at all. I think that Ryan Hall is definitely the pick in this one. Ryan Hall, I know I said he hasn't got much in the way of striking, but he does have some pretty nice high kicks. They are a bit slow coming up, but against the fighter of Gray Maynard's, the time he's been around, he may clip him with one of those head kicks. But I see Ryan Hall taking this to the ground and finding the submission, but not writing off Gray Maynard whatsoever, because I think if he could get on top of Ryan Hall here, he could win this fight. So Ryan Hall for me, I'm going to pick him via submission. I think the better pick is Hall via submission. I'm going to go late first round. I think he's going to get caught in something down there. Bantamweight division, women's bantamweight division. We have Sara McMann against Alexis Davis. Very excited to see Alexis Davis back, because I do think she is one of the elite girls in that division, and she only loses really to elite girls in that division. I mean, Ronda Rousey, say what you want about her, she is one of the most elite women that division's ever seen, if not the most elite. And we will see her back at UFC 207 fairly soon. But I mean, her losses on Shayna Baszler, back in the day, she was one of the biggest kind of pioneers of the sport. Sarah Kaufman, and the only other loss was to Ronda Rousey. So, I mean, one thing about Sarah, Alexis Davis, is that she's extremely tough, can take a shot, can take a really hard shot, gets cut up, but scrappy, is always in the fight. That fight with Liz Carmouche, she suffered a nasty cut, but just kept coming forward and put Carmouche against the cage and unloaded with her some shots and won that one there. I think I was a little bit contentious. I remember back in the day kind of watching that. Jess Guy, she's been she's been plummeting downhill there. Got a split decision victory there. Lost to Rousey very quickly, but came back with a very beautiful submission of Sarah Kaufman. Sara McMann, on the other hand, she's I mean, she's only lost to elite girls as well. So, I mean, she lost to Miesha Tate, which she was in that fight until Miesha Tate really put her ground game on her, which was a little bit... I didn't expect that, because I thought that McMann had the superior ground game, but in the end she was dominated on top, and she just couldn't get off the bottom there, and Miesha Tate won that one via majority decision, lost to Rousey and lost to Amanda Nunes. Probably the 3 of the 4 top girls in that division she's lost to. Put Holly Holm in there, you've got the 4 most elite girls definitely, and she's lost to 3 of them, been stopped twice. I see as Alexis Davis is just outside that top 5 with Sara McMann, a really close fight, but you've got to look at the ring rust here of Alexis Davis, so that's something. She's been out, she had a kid, so there must be a little bit of rust there. I really want to pick Alexis Davis, but I think the smart pick here is Sara McMann. I think she's going to find a way to take this to the ground and win a decision. I'm going to go Sara McMann, but not overly confident in that whatsoever, but I think she's the smarter pick in this one. Light heavyweight division. Ion Cutelaba against Jared Cannonier. I like this Ion Cutelaba. This guy comes in and he throws bombs. He just wants to throw it with every shot, everything that he has in him. He comes to throw big leather. Came out against Misha Sukhanov, did the exact same. Gassed himself out, and Sukhanov just being I think the little bit better fighter in the meantime. Won that fight. Came out with Jonathan Wilson, really clipped him hard in that fight, but couldn't get the finish, and won via decision. Back in October, got a quick turnaround here in early December. I like this matchup here against Jared Cannonier. I think that Cannonier is the smaller guy. He is going to be right there. I don't think his head movement's that good. I think Cutelaba's going to throw... If Cutelaba could just be a little bit more... what fight was I think watching earlier on? I was watching Albert Morales and Thomas Almeida. And if Albert Morales used some straight shots instead of those winging shots against Almeida, he might have had a little bit more success. I can see if Cutelaba can come out and throw more straight shots instead of those big wild looping punches, he will put Cannonier down. But either way, I think he's going to catch Jared Cannonier. I think he's going to catch him well. I'm going to go Cutelaba via TKO in round number 1. But if this fight goes late, Cannonier might come into it a little bit, but I just don't see. I think Cutelaba's going to find the chin and put him down. Welterweight division, Jake Ellenberger against Jorge Masvidal. I'm on Masvidal all day long here. I think that Jake Ellenberger, I think that fight with Matt Brown was a do or die situation, and to be fair to the guy, he pulled it out the fire. He pulled out a huge win against a ranked opponent in Matt Brown, and kept himself in a job pretty much because he was on the chopping block. I think he even said to Dana White, one more fight, and he came out there. He took some shots in that one as well, but he put Matt Brown away in one of the great kind of first rounds of the year, where it was a little bit back and forward. I just think Masvidal is going to piece him up, and I think that Jake Ellenberger is there to be hit, and he's there to be got at, and I think that Masvidal, being the more complete striker, more accurate striker, he's going to find the chin there. I think Ellenberger should use his wrestling if he can in this one, try and get in close and take Masvidal down, but Masvidal, to his credit, has got great takedown defense, one of the most underrated fighters in the whole entire game. Can I see Masvidal finish him? At a push, but I'm going to go over 3 rounds. I think Masvidal, everything kind of leans in his side. He's too accurate, he's just too fast on the feet. I think he's going to piece up Jake Ellenberger a little bit and win a decision. So a decision for Jorge Masvidal. Co-main event, we have Joseph Benavidez against Henry Cejudo. Good fight, but my pick is going to be Joseph Benavidez. I just don't see where Henry Cejudo wins this fight. I really don't. I don't think he is the faster striker. He's obviously the better wrestler. But will he show that here against Benavidez? He could. Benavidez is one of the best lower weight class guys in the last 4 or 5 years, without a doubt. Even at bantamweight, he was a top guy. He only lost to Dominic Cruz up there, and he's only lost to Demetrious Johnson down at flyweight. That says everything. Demetrious Johnson is the GOAT. In my opinion, he is the greatest all time. That is just my opinion. You might think Anderson Silva, Fedor Emelianenko, John Jones is right there as well, but I think this guy is going to and he'll maybe never get the recognition of that in years to come because of the division that he was in. He'll maybe be beating people multiple times, but I think Demetrious Johnson is going to go down as the greatest of all time. And but say Joseph Benavidez, he's beat everybody that he has to beat. If he can beat Henry Cejudo here, he has to be next in line here for a shot at Demetrious Johnson, depending who wins the main event, which I'll talk about, and so on and so on. But I think that Demetrious Johnson, he's moved out of Team Alpha Male. He's went to the Muscle Farm gym with Bang and that out in Colorado. So he's always had superior gas tank. He's got really crisp striking. Very underrated submission game. We've seen that in the Tim Elliott fight. We went down there. It was a beautiful submission. He's got his a beautiful guillotine as well. I just think that Henry Cejudo, he's shown where he can be hit and where he can be taken down, and especially in that fight with Demetrious Johnson. I thought Henry Cejudo had a big chance to win that fight back in April against Demetrious Johnson. But when I was in Vegas and the week went on, and the more I was around Demetrious Johnson, I thought, this is not happening. I did not expect Cejudo to get taken out in the first round. But yeah, it went down that way. Cejudo got hit to the body a few times. I think that Joseph Benavidez can attack that body again. We all know that Cejudo has a kind of problem with the weight cut. He's missed weight for a few fights before coming to the UFC. I think the weight cut is a bit torturous on him, and especially after all the years of cutting weight in his wrestling career. I think that Joseph Benavidez is just going to be a class above here. And yeah, I'm going to pick Joseph Benavidez via decision. If you want to pick Henry Cejudo and bet Henry Cejudo, I don't think it's a bad bet personally. But I think that Benavidez is... There's Demetrious Johnson, and then there's Joseph Benavidez, slightly behind, not that far behind. So my pick's going to be Joseph Benavidez via decision. Now, I'm going to go into the main event here, guys. Like I said at the start of the video, if you don't want to know who is facing Demetrious Johnson this one now, I would turn off, because I don't want to spoil the show for any of you guys there. So, but don't go and look in Wikipedia either, because it is already on there. And if you want to know without watching it, with watching the show, who's going to face DJ, now's the time to cut off. But the main event of the night is Demetrious Johnson against the winner of the show and former UFC fighter, Titan FC champion, flyweight champion, only flyweight champion in there, Tim Elliott. Tim Elliott, I mean, like I was saying earlier on, the guy's a wild man. The guy is an utter wild man. He just comes forward, ferociously throws strikes, and it's just, he's all around a great fighter to have. Never thought he should have been cut from the UFC. Went out there, beat Felipe Efrain, Pedro Nobre, went out there and beat these guys in Titan and won that title down in there. But Eliade dos Santos was another guy that he beat when he left the UFC. What's he got for Demetrious Johnson here? I don't see him having a single thing for Demetrious Johnson. DJ is too fast. He's too slick. His footwork's too good. His takedowns and his clinch work is phenomenal. The way he puts his combinations together is just incredible, and we've seen that in the DJ fight. He finds holes to beat you, no matter where you are. People might say, oh, he did get taken down by Henry Cejudo. He got back up and he put a beating on Cejudo for the next 2 minutes to stop that fight. This guy finds ways to win fights, and I think this is just... Tim Elliott couldn't beat the top guys in that division when he was in the UFC. I don't see it being any different. His confidence might be a lot higher, which is something that you have to take into effect here. But I have to pick Demetrious Johnson. I mean, he's just the elite of the elite, in my opinion. And I can see him winning this fight via submission. I'm going to go maybe a late first, early second round. I think Demetrious Johnson's really going to put his will on Tim Elliott here, and he's going to find a way to stop him. Elliott is a tough, scrappy guy. I hope he's back in the UFC because he will beat some good guys there. But my pick has to be Demetrious Johnson via submission. I'm going to go early round number 2. And then it's just back to beating the guys he's beat before. I think Benavidez or Cejudo or whoever. There is some guys coming through. So that is my picks there for the TUF finale. I will have another video out probably this Thursday for UFC Fight Night in Albany, New York, which has taken some serious hits. Aljamain Sterling, Tatiana Suarez has been pulled. I was looking forward to seeing her. There is 2 cards next week. There is one in Albany, and then there's UFC 206, which is now headlined by... Max Holloway versus Anthony Pettis for the interim UFC featherweight title, which is a complete farce. in my opinion. Conor McGregor got stripped, which I thought was the right thing, but having another interim title is just ridiculous. So keep your eyes out for that. Come follow me on Twitter, Will Martin MMA. If you want to play me on DraftKings, Billbar85. I will see you all very, very soon for another Fight Card Predictions. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all very, very soon.